Okay, hey guys, in this tutorial we're going to be learning on how to upload images files to Firebase storage with Firebase version 9. So Firebase version 9 is a different version from the version 8. They changed the way you have to set up Firebase and use it, because the way they did it is because of performance optimizations reasons. So we're going to learn how to get started with Firebase, and we're going to do the little file bunker application. So I'm going to select a file. So if I select something that is not a file, it's going to give me please select something as a file, and if I try to upload this, nothing is going to happen. But if I do select something as a file, that's an image, which is what we want. So let's look for an image here. So this image. So then if I click on upload, see we have our progress bar. Then we can click on download, file download. Then we have that image there. So that is the application in a nutshell. Very simple. And with the image URL, what you could do with the image URL ideally is that you could store it to like something like Firestore, which is a real-time database by Firebase. And if you do want to know how to get started with Firebase, I have a completely separate video on that. You can check that out. I did a CRUD application, like a to-do list with that. And if you also want to get started with starting a new Firebase project, that you can just check the beginning of that video. It's really easy. You just click on start project, then enter your project name and stuff like that. But you can see I am one project away from the project limit, so I don't want to be creating too much projects at the beginning. So after I have created a project, which is very easy, you can click on. But before we get started with Firebase, we need to get started with our development. So I'm using Vite, and I'll explain that for a reason. So I have the starter files right here. So what I'm going to do is that I've already opened a terminal with bash, or you can use cmd. I've already opened a terminal right here. So we're going to create a new Vite app, which is very easy. So I've already pasted the command. So this is how you create a new Vite app. npm create at Vite latest. So make sure you have npm and node.js installed. We're going to click on create, enter. Then now it's going to ask us some questions. So it's going to ask us for the Vite project. Because we're already in the directory that we want, we can put a dot. Package name, I don't know, let's just put test. Then it's going to tell us to pick a framework. You can use whatever framework you want, but we're going to be using vanilla JavaScript. So we're going to click vanilla. We're not using TypeScript, and everything has already entered, as you can see here. So what we just have to do to get this up and running is to just write npm I to install all the small amount of dependencies that it comes in. So after when that is installed, let's just start doing our HTML here. So in the main app.js file, what we're going to do is that we're going to get some CDN stuff for material UI, because that is what we're going to use to make it look good. So if we click on the get started button here, I'm going to copy this and paste this in the head. And I'm also going to copy the script one. You wonder why we're using the script. Is for the file inputs. And I'm also going to save this. So what I'm going to do, and what we're going to have essentially, is we're going to have a h3 file bunker. Then inside this h3, we're going to have two buttons, and we're going to have an ID of upload and download respectively. So we're going to say button. We're going to say button. That is button. We're going to give the class of btn blue, and we're going to give it the ID of upload. Then we're going to write in between the buttons, we're going to write upload. We're going to copy this and duplicate it. So in that video, demo. This was actually supposed to be gold, but I spelled it correctly. Okay, so this should be gold. Because if materialize doesn't has a good palette. So this is going to have an ID of download and download. And if you do enjoy the content, please don't forget to subscribe and like, because that really helps a lot. So we're going to save this. Let's check if our dependencies have not yet installed. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to get a custom file input for materialize. So let's just copy from the div, or we can copy everything. Copy, and if you do want the source code for this in the description, you can ask for me in the comment section. The source file might be there. Select ID of select, and what do we have to do again? We can close here and close it. That's pretty much it for the HTML. But wait, there's one last thing. And what we have to do finally is that we have to have a progress bar. So this is a progress bar right here. Copy that, paste this, and in this progress bar we're going to give it, okay, we're going to let's give it, instead of giving width of 70%, width of 0% by default. So this had it had that 70% by default. As you can see, refresh 100. So let's remove that. So this server is still running. I'm gonna shut down that server. So you should shut down that server. As you can see, that is 70% by default, or that's what we don't want. So in the main JavaScript file, I think the dependencies are already installed, because I'm seeing good modules over here with a lot of. Let's file everything we have to. So the first thing we're going to do, let's start setting our Firebase. The dependencies have installed, as you can see. Let's connect to this Firebase. I'm going to use an existing project. So when you use an existing project, you can just click on this button here and you can click on the project settings icons. Project settings, and make sure you follow me exactly, because you can make a mistake here. npm run dev. Let's start the server. So when we have done that, we can see this right over here. And there's two ways to install Firebase. You can install Firebase like this, then you can install the modules like this. So you just copy it and initialize it. But this is not what I'm going to do. Although most people do it like that. But the reason why I'm not going to, because Firebase is a pretty huge dependency, but they are the same thing in general. So what I'm going to use the CDN version is, as I said, it's exactly the same thing. So, and the reason why I'm using Vite, so I can use imports. Copy. So let's clean up the code. First of all, we can remove the comments. We don't need that. Okay, we can leave this one that says initialize Firebase. So what we're going to do, so what I'm doing essentially is that we have the keys and API keys that we need. By the way, don't ever expose this, because this is sacred. You can be used to hack you. So this is the way we import functions that we need. So by the way, if you install it with the CDN, you just import it. So it's just Firebase / Firebase / Firestore, whatever I need. But of course, we're using a CDN, which is basically almost the same thing. So we don't need the analytics here. I almost never use analytics unless you are trying to deploy. That is it for Firebase app.js. So what we have to do now is that we're going to require from the Firebase storage library. So what we're going to need is three. So we're going to need get storage, and also the way we initialize Firebase has changed. The way we initialize our functions has also changed as well. Get storage, ref, upload, bytes, resume label. Let's just import this one first. And so what I'm just simply going to do is say from, I'm going to full screen this, copy, paste, then instead of saying Firebase app.js, just change it to storage.js. So this is what we initialize our app with. So if we wanted to, what we do to initialize our storage is I would say constant storage is going to be equal to get storage of app. So like that we have initialized our storage. So let's look at our app in the browser. I think that is secondary to do that in a second. The first thing I have to do that to get input work, I have to initialize material UI. So we're going to initialize material UI. Add event listener DOM content loaded. So what I'm doing here is that I'm listening to the window object, the DOM content. So when everything is loaded, that's when we want to run m dot auto init. So after that has been initialized, we have to select a lot of things. So let's just start selecting them. So constant upload btn is going to be equal to document dot query selector, and we gave it an idea of upload, as you can see. Yeah, idea of upload. So let's just copy this and paste this. We can change this to download btn. Okay, just make sure that's consistency with the spellings. Then what we have to do is that we have to select the file btn and the progress element. So let's just copy this and paste this again. So this is going to be file btn, and we gave the file btn an idea of select, so we're just going to put a hashtag in front of it. Then finally the progress element, progress. So the way we're going to select this is document or query selector. Query selector supports CSS selector, so we just say progress div. So it's going to target the div inside the progress, which is going to be this determinate. Okay, now that we've selected everything we need, what we're going to do is say file btn dot add the event listener, and the event is going to change. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the file. So const file is going to be e.target.files of 0. So the reason I'm saying 0 because the user can select multiple files, and we don't want the user to select multiple files. So first thing that we're going to say again, first thing I'm going to say if file dot type is equal to image/jpeg or file dot type. So these are the only image format that our application supports, image/png. So the first thing that we have to do is that we have to make a reference to the Firebase storage. So we have to say const file ref going to be equal to ref, that thing we imported at the top here. So we're going to make a folder. So the folder we're going to make, so we're going to pass in the storage first of all, which is this stuff that we have initialized here. One thing I do want to point out is that if you want to, the best thing, you have come to your storage bucket as well, so that you can initialize your storage bucket. If you click on your storage bucket, normally, if this was a new project, it will just show you to get started. When you click on get started, you now have normally a bank storage, but I have to, yeah. So this is what we're doing essentially. So after we pass in the storage, we're going to make a new folder. So I've made 2 folders there. So I'm just going to call this photos / plus the file dot name, and you will understand why we're making a ref later. So we're going to listen to when the user clicks the upload btn. So you don't just upload it when the file input changes. We're going to say upload btn or add event listener, click. We're going to pass in the event object, say const upload task. And how do we get the upload task? By using this upload bytes resumable. So this upload bytes resumable is what's going to upload our file to Firebase. It's called upload bytes resumable because it's resumable. You can pause it, cancel it, or play it. So the first thing I'm going to pass in is the file ref and the actual file itself. So now that we have an upload task, the simplest thing, so what we have to now do next is that we have to listen for when how we're getting the file, that's the progress, the error in case there was an error, and the success when the file has been downloaded. So the way we do that is by we say upload tags are on state underscore changed, and inside the state underscore changed we have access to the functions. So I'm just going to use esc star snapshot. So inside the snapshot, what do we want to do? We want to make a new const called progress, because inside the snapshot we can have the progress and some other important information. So we're going to say snapshot dot bytes transferred divided by snapshot of total bytes times 100 to get the percentage. Snapshot of byte transfer divided by total bytes. So the what has transferred divided by the total amount of bytes. So we're gonna see progress element dot style dot width to equal. I'm gonna use ESC's destructuring, so ESC's template strings here. Progress. So the progress will be a number. Then we're not gonna put percentage there. So because this has CSS is now, so it will be like at one point in time it will be 20%, 30%. So that's the progress at which the file is uploaded. Comma. The next function is the error function. If there was an error, we can just like alert error. So the last and final function is a function where we get the download URL. And to do that, we have to say download button dot add event listener. So whenever the download button is clicked, or add event listener, click. So what I'm going to do here, first of all, we're going to create the image that we want to append to the body. So let's image equal to document dot create element. So you can create elements in JavaScript in case you do not know. Image. So say image dot source. Wait a minute. You have to say get download URL to This is a function by Firebase that will can allow us to get the download URL of our file. So get download URL. As always, as all Firebase function, what we have to do is that we have to import this. As all Firebase functions, as we have been doing so far, we also have to import this from the Firebase storage library. And by the way, this ought to be capitalized. So here, what this does essentially is that we have to pass in the snapshot dot upload task or snapshot dot ref. Then this returns a promise, so we can attach on the dot, then we have the result. I'm just going to call it res. So here we're going to say image dot src to equal res, and we're also going to say image dot style dot width to equal to 300 pixels. Copy paste, and we're also going to set the height to 300 pixels. Then we can also alert the user once the file is downloaded. So alert file downloaded, capital letter, capitalized. Then one more thing that we have to do here, I said that we have to add a class of container so that everything is not just flushed up. So save this, and if we come to have, so from this flushed up, okay, save. Why does everything still look flushed up? Perhaps I might spelling my container wrongly. Okay, this ID, my bad, sorry. Class of container, sorry. As you can see here, so when we click on the file, let's try selecting something that is not a file. Okay, that our validation doesn't. It's actually okay. Our validation does not run. We ought to have else here that will say alert. Please select JPEGs or PNGs. Then we're going to return. So what return is that it's going to end and terminate the function immediately. So I'm going to say file. So let's try selecting something that is not an image. So as you can see here, if you try and upload, it's not going to work. So let's try selecting something that is an image. Open, click on upload. Let's check if we have any errors. Okay, our get storage function is wrong. So this is just the little mistakes. So let's run this function again. So I'm going to select that same image, open, upload, boom. So it has uploaded, download, file downloaded, and it should have, okay, my bad. Okay. We're going to say documents.query selector, hashtag of app,